Cena's rivalry with Edge kicked off in the most shocking fashion imaginable. In January 2006, right after John Cena survived a grueling Elimination Chamber match, Edge cashed in the very first Money in the Bank contract on a worn-down Cena and stole the WWE Championship from him in seconds. The Golden Boy champ was suddenly dethroned by a smirking opportunist. In the blink of an eye, the invincible hero had been outsmarted and beaten, and fans' jaws hit the floor. This was our first taste of Edge as Cena's worst nightmare. Edge proved to be a very different kind of foe for Cena. He wasn't the biggest or strongest guy, but he was arguably the craftiest. Dubbed the ultimate opportunist, Edge made it his mission to make Cena's life hell by any means necessary. He'd cheat with hidden brass knuckles, prop his feet on the ropes for leverage, orchestrate sneak attacks backstage. Nothing was off limits if it gave him an edge. Cena was the straight-laced superhero who played by the rules. Edge was the rule-breaking rebel who gleefully flipped the script at every turn. This dynamic gave their feud an unpredictable, chaotic energy. One night, Edge would weasel out a cheap win. The next, a frustrated Cena might snap and tackle Edge through a table. It was tit for tat, constantly escalating, and electric to watch. What truly set the Cena and Edge rivalry on fire was how deeply personal it became. Edge didn't just want Cena's title, he wanted to embarrass the man. In one infamous stunt, Edge actually invaded John Cena's hometown of West Newbury, Massachusetts, went to the Cena family home. His hands on Edge, it wasn't about pinfalls or submissions. Cena wanted to hurt him. The normally jovial, composed Cena found a fierce mean streak awakened inside him, and fans were glued to their screens, loving every minute of this grudge. From that point on, every Cena versus Edge encounter felt like a personal grudge match. Take SummerSlam 2006 in Cena's hometown of Boston. The atmosphere was off the charts. Edge walked in as WWE champion to defend against a seething, vengeful Cena, and Edge still found a way to win by clocking Cena with brass knuckles behind the referee's back to score the pin. The Boston crowd was stunned and furious. Edge slithered away with the title yet again, while Cena was left fuming after another underhanded loss. But all that did was make John even more determined to get revenge and reclaim what was his. The feud hit its apex a month later at Unforgiven 2006 in Edge's hometown of Toronto. This was the do-or-die showdown, Edge versus Cena in Edge's specialty match. A tables, ladders, and chairs battle for the WWE Championship. In front of Edge's home crowd, the two tore the house down in a wild TLC brawl. Ladders flew, tables splintered, chairs crashed, pure chaos. In the climactic moment, Cena hoisted Edge onto a 16-foot ladder and delivered an attitude adjustment off the very top, sending Edge crashing down through a pair of stacked tables below. The arena exploded in cheers. Edge was left demolished in the wreckage, and Cena climbed back up to grab the championship hanging above the ring. He won back his WWE title in decisive fashion, vanquishing Edge on the Ultimate Opportunist's home turf. Edge, the hometown hero and ultimate schemer, had finally been outsmarted and overpowered by Cena's resolve. It was one of the most cathartic victories you'll ever see. Cena silenced his arch nemesis in Edge's own backyard. This rivalry had a level of personal animosity that felt shockingly real. It was the hottest feud of 2006 and one of the defining rivalries of the Ruthless Aggression Era. Importantly, it showed a new side of John Cena. Edge's relentless antics forced Cena to tap into a more ruthless aggression of his own. No more smiling nice guy against Edge's guerrilla tactics. Cena had to get mean and down and dirty to survive. We saw Cena tackle Edge off a stage into tables. Cena when necessary. And guess what? Even fans who usually booed Super Cena couldn't help but cheer when Cena showed that fire. Meanwhile, this feud turned Edge into the top heel in the company. Mr. Money in the Bank became a bona fide main event superstar, tangling with John Cena. Edge's rated R superstar persona, the cocky, scheming villain, hit its peak during this storyline. Fans absolutely despised Edge for tormenting Cena, and some rebellious fans loved Edge for the same reasons, because he was just that good of a villain. Either way, everyone was invested. By the time their feud cooled off, their last major singles clash was in 2009, in a brutal last man standing match. Both men had been elevated. Cena emerged as a tougher, more battle-tested champion, and Edge proved he could hang toe-to-toe with the face of the company. But while Edge burned fast, there was someone else waiting. Slower, colder, deadlier, the kind of rival who didn't strike once. He stalked you for years. Randy Orton, the Viper, the shadow that never left Cena's heels. If Edge was like a lightning strike in Cena's career, Randy Orton was the rolling thunder that kept rumbling for over a decade. John Cena's rivalry with Randy Orton is a saga, an epic tale spanning nearly 20 years, full of twists and turns. Their story really caught fire at SummerSlam 2007, which marked the first major one-on-one showdown between them. It was billed as a clash of generational titans. Orton, at 27 years old, was a vicious young lion hungry to take the throne. Cena, at 30, was the established champ determined to prove he was more than a corporate poster boy. The match was pure main event magic. They went move for move in a thriller that had fans on the edge of their seats. Cena narrowly retained his title that night, countering an RKO into an FU, later known as the Attitude Adjustment, out of nowhere to get the pin. Orton, furious at the loss, answered by attacking Cena after the bell. Losing on a big stage only fueled Orton's fire. It was clear this rivalry was just getting started. From that point forward, Cena versus Orton became a constant of WWE programming. These two were like mirror opposites destined to collide again and again. Cena was the valiant hero preaching hustle, loyalty, respect, and never give up. Orton was the venomous villain, the self-proclaimed legend killer turned viper, who had no respect for anyone or anything. The bad blood escalated dramatically in late 2007. On an episode of Raw, Orton crossed a line even Edge hadn't. He attacked John Cena's father. Orton dragged Cena's dad out of the crowd and kicked him in the head at ringside. That image, Orton's boot smashing into Cena's father's skull, is burned into the memory of every fan who saw it. It was disturbing, it was personal, and it sent Cena into a frenzy. Orton had basically declared, "I'll hurt your family if it means getting to you," showing just how ruthless he could be. The feud went nuclear. Cena retaliated with unbridled fury. In their next match, an enraged Cena brutalized Orton and got himself disqualified because he wouldn't stop pummeling the Viper. At that point, it wasn't about championships or rules. It was pure vengeance. Unfortunately for Cena, fate then intervened. In late 2007, just as this rivalry was reaching a fever pitch, Cena tore a pectoral muscle and had to relinquish the WWE title to recover, putting him out of action for months. Randy Orton, ever the opportunist, was promptly awarded the championship and proudly proclaimed himself the new top dog. Many fans assumed that abrupt injury meant the end of the Cena and Orton feud, a tragic premature finish, but John Cena wasn't about to let it end that way. In an almost superhero-like comeback, Cena made a miraculous early return at the 2008 Royal Rumble, shocking everyone by appearing months ahead of schedule. And who was standing tall as WWE champion when Cena came back? Randy Orton. Cena won the Rumble match and immediately set his sights on Orton, picking up right where they left off. The two clashed multiple times in 2008, including a WWE title match at No Way Out, and a triple threat at WrestleMania 24 with Triple H also in the mix. Each time, Orton found a sneaky way to slither out with the title still around his waist. For example, getting himself intentionally disqualified or capitalizing on a distraction to steal a pin. Every time Orton escaped by the skin of his teeth, it only made Cena more determined to finally put down the Viper. If 2007 was the spark and 2008 the comeback, then 2009 was the inferno. 3 matches, 3 months, 0 peace, SummerSlam, Breaking Point, bragging rights, each one more violent than the last. At SummerSlam 2009, Orton was champion, smug, untouchable, and Cena was coming for blood. But Orton, he wasn't there to fight fair. Count outs, disqualifications, ref bumps, every dirty trick in the book. He even decked the referee just to buy time. Somehow, some way, he walked out with the title still in hand. But everyone watching knew Cena wasn't done, not even close. A month later came breaking point. The match type, I quit. The story, simple. Cena never quits. Orton wanted to make him. What followed looked more like a crime scene than a wrestling match. Orton handcuffed Cena to the ring post and tortured him. Kendo stick shots, choking him with chains. Demanding he give up. He didn't, not once. Instead, Cena broke free, chained himself to Orton, and turned the tables. He literally dragged him down and locked in the STF with the chain biting into Orton's neck. The Viper screamed, "I quit," and Cena reclaimed the championship. The crowd roared. Cena had survived hell, but hell had more waiting, because just weeks later, Orton invoked his rematch clause. And this time, they went to the one place where mercy doesn't exist. Hell in a Cell. Cena's first time inside the structure, Orton's second home. Inside those steel walls, Orton was pure evil, slow, precise, surgical. DDT on the concrete, stalking Cena like prey, and then bang, the punt kick. One brutal shot to the skull and Cena collapsed. Orton pinned him. 1, 2, 3. The title was his again. Surely that had to be the end, right? Wrong. WWE wasn't finished, and neither were they. The company called it the final chapter. A 60-minute Iron Man match at Bragging Rights 2009. No disqualifications, no countouts, falls count anywhere. 1 hour to prove who was better. Cena and Orton went to war for a full hour. I mean, literally anything was allowed. Falls counted anywhere. No disqualifications. They brawled all over the arena. Weapons came into play. Both men pushed themselves past their limits, scoring pinfalls and submissions back and forth as the clock ticked. In one wild moment straight out of a cartoon villain's playbook, Orton even tried to blow Cena up by rigging the stage pyro to explode while Cena was on the stage. The blast was huge. It looked like Cena might have been taken out, but he survived, singed and enraged. As the final minutes wound down, the score was tied and both men were utterly exhausted. With seconds left, Cena countered a desperate RKO, hoisted Orton up, and delivered a thunderous attitude adjustment through a table for the last second pinfall. Time expired with Cena up 6-5, making him the winner and WWE champion once again. It was the epic climax of an epic war. Cena stood triumphant, and Orton was finally vanquished, at least for the time being. That stretch in 2009 was the crescendo of the Cena-Orton saga. In just 2 months, they exchanged the WWE Championship 3 times, pushing each other to their limits. By the end of that Iron Man match, both men were battered, spent, and perhaps had a begrudging respect for one another. One thing was obvious: neither man could truly dominate the other for long. They were too evenly matched at the top. As if to prove how inseparable they were, consider this. John Cena and Randy Orton faced each other over 200 times in total, when you count all their televised, pay-per-view, and live event showdowns. They headlined countless events from 2007 through 2014. Whenever WWE needed a marquee main event for Raw, a pay-per-view, or even an overseas tour, they knew they could always run Cena versus Orton, and fans would be excited to see it again. Over the years, it almost became nostalgic. Two old rivals who knew each other so well, locking up yet one more time. Their chemistry was just that good. Cena's raw power and heart versus Orton's precision and malice made for magic every single time. Even after 2009's final chapter, the Cena and Orton rivalry found ways to resurface. In late 2013, both men were champions again. Cena held the World Heavyweight title. Orton held the WWE title. And WWE couldn't resist one more big collision. They fought in a high-stakes title unification TLC match at TLC 2013, essentially to determine the face of WWE. In typical fashion, Orton not only beat Cena, he did it by nefarious means. He handcuffed Cena to the ropes and dumped him off a ladder to grab both belts. That win made Orton the first ever WWE World Heavyweight Champion, symbolically showing he had one-upped Cena once more. Even in the years afterward, whenever their paths crossed, there was always a crackle of tension. A surprise RKO to spoil a Cena title win here. A tense stare down in the Royal Rumble there. the feud never truly died. As long as John Cena and Randy Orton were in the same ring, you knew their history could ignite at any moment. In terms of sheer scope and longevity, it's tough to find a rivalry that compares to Cena versus Orton. These two defined a generation of WWE, much like Rock versus Austin did a decade prior. They battled in every type of match imaginable: Hell in a Cell, I Quit, Iron Man, TLC, you name it. They traded victories and titles, pushed each other to the brink time and again. Yet neither man could keep the other down for good. Their feud more or less ran alongside John Cena's entire prime as the face of the company, serving as the backbone of WWE storylines for years. Most importantly, all those battles with Orton helped shape John Cena's legacy. So, when it comes down to it, who is John Cena's greatest opponent, Edge or Randy Orton? It's a bit like comparing a supernova to a North Star. Edge's rivalry was the supernova, a brilliant, explosive burst of intensity that gave us some of the most unforgettable highlights of Cena's maximum impact, from the jaw-dropping Money in the Bank cash-in to their chaos-filled TLC showdown in Toronto. For pure peak excitement and emotional investment, the Edge feud delivered in spades. It was a concentrated blast of greatness that redefined Cena at a crucial time. Randy Orton's rivalry, on the other hand, is the North Star, a constant guiding presence in Cena's career, shining brightly over the long haul. The Cena and Orton saga was all about longevity and legacy. They feuded on and off for years, accumulating chapter after chapter of history together. Orton forced Cena to prove himself again and again, and in doing so became the measuring stick of Cena's era. No one had a bigger influence across Cena's entire run than Orton did. The sheer number of main events they shared and titles they traded tells the story. This was the defining rivalry of Cena's prime. In terms of overall impact on John Cena's career, you could argue that nobody comes close to Randy Orton. So, my pick for Cena's greatest opponent is Randy Orton by the slimmest of margins. The totality of the Orton rivalry just edges it out. Why? Because Orton was Cena's constant dance partner from the moment Cena hit the main event scene, all the way through his peak years. John Cena's long reign on top was defined in large part by having Orton standing across the ring again and again, year after year. The saga of Cena versus Orton, with all its twists, brutality, triumphs, and betrayals, wrote a huge chunk of John Cena's story. Edge's feud with Cena was like an amazing. Orton's feud was like the long-running epic that kept us watching season after season. Orton is the opponent Cena battled the most, learned the most from, and spent the longest time trying to conquer. That kind of enduring rivalry is truly special, and it's a legacy unto itself. Now, saying Orton is the greatest isn't meant to diminish Edge at all. In fact, the beauty of Cena's career is that he had both of these rivalries, each crucial in its own way. Edge was the spark that elevated Cena to superstardom in 2006 when he needed that perfect foil. Edge's cunning chaos made Cena more interesting, forcing the Golden Boy to get gritty and proving that Cena could thrive in an Attitude Era-style blood feud. On the other hand, Orton was the constant crucible that tested Cena's mettle for years on end, ensuring that Cena stayed on top and kept evolving. In the end, Cena didn't just fight rivals, he fought reflections. Edge showed him chaos, Orton showed him forever, and between them, he became immortal.